Senate File 3276 is a resolution. It's a resolution that I hope the Minnesota State Senate will adopt. The resolution does two things. It addresses the federal health care bill that's been proposed in Congress. I understand, members, that Congress may pass that bill as early as Saturday. I'm asking that the members of the Minnesota Senate review that bill and look at the unconstitutional provisions in it, Mr. President. There are two aspects of that bill that are unconstitutional and have absolute relevance to the work that we do here in the Minnesota State Senate. The first is that the provision in the health care bill is a violation of the Commerce Clause. The Commerce Clause is limited under the federal Constitution, and the provisions in the health care bill go beyond what is authorized for Congress if you apply the Supreme Court precedents. Secondly, Mr. President, the capitation clause, or the per person penalty or capitation tax in that bill is also unconstitutional. And Mr. President, under the 10th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, any subject area that is not specifically granted to our U.S. Congress, any power of government is reserved for the states under the 10th Amendment. So, Mr. President, what I'm asking for today is that this Senate commit to a review of the constitutionality of that bill. I'm asking, Mr. President.
Okay, let's listen up.
Thank you. Mr. President, I'm asking that the members of the Minnesota State Senate look at the balance of power between the federal government and the state government, especially in light of the 10th Amendment and the provision of divided government in our U.S. Constitution. Members, it is our responsibility to make sure that the federal government doesn't overreach or encroach upon states' rights. And I'm concerned, as are many Minnesotans, that the health care bill pending in Congress now does exactly that. It's more than just a bill that you might disagree with. We're not trying to say that we disagree with our members of Congress. I think everybody in this chamber is very proud of their respective Congress members. That's not the point. The point is that as members of the Minnesota Senate, we all swore an oath to support the U.S. Constitution.
Mr. President, point of order.
State your point of order, Senator Poggemiller.
I believe the motion is to pull a bill out of committee. I think Senator Ortman should be speaking to the merits of taking the bill out of the committee, not to the merits of the bill.
Yeah, I think that's correct, Senator Ortman. Why should it be?
Mr. President, if I could, the justification for making this motion, I know we're past the first committee deadline, but there is an urgency. We expect that there will be a vote in Congress on Saturday. And so I do think I'm addressing the motion. Why we should take an extraordinary step that I don't think I've ever asked for on any other bill. It's an unusual thing for a member to do. But this is a very extraordinary time for our state and our country when the federal government is proposing what is an individual mandate to carry insurance. And what that means, members, is that Congress is intending to force everybody in the country to buy an insurance policy with a private insurance carrier.
Mr. President.
And that is not authorized under the Commerce Clause. Mr. President.
Senator Poggemiller.
Mr. President, I think it would be more efficient, Senator, if you would speak to why the bill should be pulled out of committee. Because, as I understand it, the bill you want to pull out of committee is scheduled for a hearing tomorrow in the committee.
Senator Ortman.
Mr. President, that's correct. And Senator Poggemiller, you know the process well. There will be a hearing tomorrow, but we know that it will have to have many hearings before this chamber will be able to vote on it. And I want to make sure that Minnesotans know that we are aware of our 10th Amendment rights, that we are protecting their interests, their constitutional interests in this bill, and that we speak on it when it's timely, that our Congress has the opportunity to hear us speak on this issue before they have to vote. And it's important, Mr. President, that our Attorney General be fully aware of the legal issues and our concerns in the Minnesota State Senate about our responsibilities under the 10th Amendment. And that's why, Mr. Chair, I'm asking, or Mr. President, I'm asking that this chamber make an extraordinary motion today to take that bill out of the committee that it's been referred to and put on general orders. I'm hoping that we can debate that motion today, Mr. President.
Discussion, Senator Berglund.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Marty, would you yield?
Senator Marty will yield. Senator Berglund.
Senator Marty, could you tell us when you have this proposal scheduled to be heard in your committee?
Senator Marty.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Berglund, I think it's 10 o'clock tomorrow. We're meeting in room 15.
Thank
Senator
you.
Berglund.
Thank you, Senator Marty. So, Mr. Chairman, the proposal is scheduled to be heard. It is more appropriate to hear something of this complex nature in a committee before it would be brought to the floor of the Senate, and I would urge members to reject the motion.
Senator Ortman.
Mr. President, I think I did address that. We will hear the health policy aspects of this bill in committee tomorrow, but we will probably not be hearing the constitutional concerns. That would probably be in a different committee, probably the Judiciary Committee, and we will not hear that before our congressional delegation is asked to vote on this bill or pass this bill, as the case may be, on Saturday. Mr. President, I will ask for a roll call vote on this motion. I think this is as important a motion as I've ever heard in this chamber, because we need to talk about the impact to the state of Minnesota when the federal government encroaches upon our constitutional rights preserved under the 10th Amendment and encroaches upon Minnesotans' constitutional rights. The Commerce Clause does not authorize what's in this bill. Our federal government would be acting unconstitutionally and illegally, and the state of Minnesota should speak to the issue, Mr. President.